G'day friends, welcome to day 3 of HALLOWEEK. Today is Addams Family Friday and I've got my large Delusions journal here. The Delusions journals, by the way, are probably one of my favorite. I love the paper in them. It's a slightly off-white, maybe like a really light cream, but they hold up to wet media really, really well. So I'm just layering on a bunch of Daniel Smith watercolors. They're gorgeous, they granulate, the color is great, and I'm got a really wet page here just because I want those colors to kind of blend around, and I'm trying to make kind of a vignette kind of look. So darker on the outside, kind of lighter on the inside. So I am blotting some of that off with a paper towel, and it works for what I'm doing today. Now, you can see there, I've got some printouts. I have actually just taken the movie poster from the Addams Family and put it into Photoshop, and then I've put my little headshot over the faces and just kind of resized them to those faces. And if you can't guess what I'm doing already, I am turning myself into the entire Addams Family. So I've cut around it because I kind of want to use it as a stencil and mark where those heads are going to go. You can do the old technique of drawing a grid over the page and then drawing a grid over the printout and then kind of cross-reference and draw each thing inside the grid. But this was going to be pretty loose, and I thought, you know, I'm going to cheat a little. I'm just going to trace around it and cut out a template, and I could not be bothered for the life of me to draw that hand. I didn't want to draw things, so I just cut him out. Him, her, I don't know if thing gender identifies, but yeah, it's a hand. So what I'm doing here is I'm going in with that Mitsubishi pencil. The one side is Prussian blue, one side is vermilion, or red and blue, basically. I think those are the colors. This is an amazing pencil. I don't know if you guys are onto this yet, but just having a dual colored pencil is great. I use the red side for when I'm doing like faces and stuff. Sometimes I just change it up and use blue. I'm just obsessed with it, especially for sketching. So I'm actually just laying out where I want everyone to be. I'm just copying the picture that I have as a reference on the side, the movie poster, and I'm turning myself into the Addams Family. Now, this is, I could have just put the whole printout down, to be honest, and then just altered the faces, but I thought I'd do a full-on journal with me today, because it's been a hot minute since I've done a journal with me on the channel, and this was just such a fun thing. I love the Addams Family. You guys know that I keep mentioning it, and especially around Halloween, it's my guilty pleasure to watch this movie over and over again. I've just had it on. I watched the Addams Family Values more than the Addams Family, the second movie. By the way, I'm referencing the one with Angelica Houston as Morticia, not the OG Addams Family television series and movies, but yeah, so this is the one that I'm referencing, and I can't get enough of it. And it's so weird to like a sequel more than an original, but that's just my reality with the Addams Family Values. It's so funny. The sense of humor is so dry. But let me tell you a bit about what I'm doing. So I've printed the little faces on a high quality. It's just a Nina bright white cardstock, but I printed the settings like quite high because they're really small faces, and I wanted to get all that resolution in there. And now I've taken a polychromos pencil in black, and I'm just adding some shading and some details to alter the appearance of my face to match the characters in the Addams Family. Now, I was laughing my head off as I was doing it, and then when it was finished, I just laughed even more. This is like, I think it's an obvious thing to say, but I'm obviously not making highbrow art here. This is just fun journal playtime, and I know that, you know, this isn't going to be everyone's cup of tea, but let me just tell you where the idea came from. When I was putting together the HALLOWEEK series, I wanted to do a bunch of things that were very relevant to the things that I like to do, but also with a fun Halloween spin. And one of my ideas was I was going to do a Tag Tuesday where I made myself a paper doll, and like me, my actual James Burke. I printed out a paper doll of James Burke, and just put different costumes on, kind of like a trial run Halloween costume test project. But I was thinking of what characters I should do, and I was thinking, oh, well, it would be fun if it was a series of characters. So maybe the Wizard of Oz, maybe I could be, you know, all the characters in the Wizard of Oz, make myself a few munchkins, put myself in a Glinda dress, and just play paper doll dress-ups. But as I was thinking about it, I was like, well, Wizard of Oz isn't very Halloween for me. It doesn't really, you know, it doesn't scream Halloween to me. And the idea of putting myself in costumes, I still liked that, but I thought, like, what Halloween thing could I do? I thought Nightmare Before Christmas, and then I thought, no, there's got to be something else that I would enjoy. I mean, I would enjoy that, but I couldn't believe it didn't click earlier. The Addams Family. It's just, I mean, it's my Halloween guilty pleasure. So when I thought of that, I thought, oh great, well I could dress myself up as a paper doll in all those Addams Family costumes, but wouldn't it just be funnier to recreate the movie poster? Like, I love to sketch fashion. I'll always draw a Morticia and a Wednesday Addams, like at any point during the year. It's such an iconic look, and it works really well for black and white illustration, for Zentangling and stuff. So, for adding in all fun details and getting a little bit, just getting carried away with your line work. I feel like I just love drawing them for that. But I thought it'd be really, really fun just to turn myself into the movie poster and just alter my face. And basically, you don't even have to be proficient in Photoshop to do any of this stuff. If you just have some photos of some faces, the heads could be so much bigger than, what they actually are. It's just completely open for artistic interpretation. But if you've got a fun movie out there, or if you've got a fun idea to transform yourself into something, I don't know. It's pretty funny to me. My sense of humor is, I like to have a good poke of fun at myself. I think that if you can't really laugh at yourself, how are you going to laugh at anybody else? But no, I really don't take myself that seriously, and I thought this would just be so funny. So now I'm going in with black ink. This is the ink that I've been using for Inktober, and you can see this is the exact same plate that I've been using for Inktober. I have a ton of these plates. This is what's usually off screen, so you can see I just put little dots of ink on there. Now the thing that I'm sorry I'm getting carried away with Inktober. People have asked before. I just use that plate, and I'll put drops of water on that plate, and then just kind of mix the ink together with the drops of water in just different ratios to get all the gray tones. So it's really not as difficult as you might think. It's not anything fancy. It's literally just a plastic plate with some ink and water on it, and that's all I've been doing for Inktober. And another one of my favorite techniques for getting this ink to manipulate, and I feel like doing Inktober has made me a lot more confident with the ink, but another one of my favorite things to do is to blot it out and get a lot of that gorgeous texture in there. I didn't do it a lot for this because it's a very black image, very like high contrast black and white. Here you can see that's me watering down some of that black to make a gray tone so that I can do the checkerboard, what is it called, floor that they stand on the poster. But yeah, and just a quick tip, if you're doing an illustration and it's got a lot of black in it, or you've got a lot of characters that are all wearing black, you can see there's just a ton of black going on in there. When you color it in, if you leave a slight white halo around it, like an empty space near all the lines that you've drawn, that will keep those images separated from each other, and you won't just end up with one big black mess, which is fine too. And of course, you could just go over everything in black and then pull it back out with a white gel pen or a white paint pen, but you'll risk losing all your working lines, and then you'll have to kind of redraw it over again. So what I like to do is draw it first, get all my bearings right, get all my my proportions, and get all the line work down, and then I just like to leave a white space around the edge. If some of them have kind of seeped into the other black area, I'll go over it with a white paint pen, but for this, I think it was totally fine just to leave that little halo around it and make sure that that black was more it was readable. Like you could easily understand what was going on. You could see the layers and the depth. Even though it is quite a flat image, there's not a lot of shading going on. If anything, there's just actually not. Everything they're wearing is just stark black and white. But that's what art journaling's all about, isn't it? Just having fun, doing what you want to do. I'm using a Tim Holtz layering stencil here. I think it's called a layering stencil. Well, it's just a stencil. Now, in that cute little tag shape, I love those stencils. I have a huge set of these stencils, and I'm guilty of not using them enough. So now I'm going back in around the edge just to darken up some of that vignette, and I think it's pretty much done. I added in some details with a white gel pen, the Uniball Signo in broad, and I am just so happy with how this turned out. It's such nonsense, and it's just nothing normal, but I think that's what Halloween's all about, isn't it? Getting dressed up, having fun, having a bit of fun at your own expense. I loved it. This is what art journaling's all about to me, just having fun. So I hope you enjoyed it. I'll be back tomorrow for another HALLOWEEK video, and until then... I thought I wouldn't do that, but I did. Alright, bye everyone!